All right, well, it's time for another pop culture roundoff. Starting off with The View co-host Alyssa Fara Griffin. She might have to end up wearing a MAGA hat after she made this promise last month. Listen.
If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah. She'll knock it right off my head. But like, you have to be able to cheer for wins when they happen and then call out relentlessly the wrongdoing. Well,
I think that she will look great in red. We can already see it. You have to make good when you make these promises, and no wiggle room about the fact that Biden did it and not Trump, because even the State Department has given Trump a lot of credit for this.
Absolutely. There's no way Joe Biden can take credit for it. But it is kind of extra delicious because Alyssa Fara was a Trump spokesperson who turned on him.
5-6 times a day, I'm working on how I can be helpful in getting the hostages released and have a period of time where there's a pause long enough to let that happen.
Obviously, as a woman serving in the Trump White House, I'm honored to talk about how he's elevated women throughout our government. I know that this president values my opinion, as he does many other women in leadership positions in this administration, but he absolutely listens to women that are serving around him.
for the first time in my life, I voted for a Democrat.
Yeah.
I voted for Kamala Harris. Yes. I'm worried about the direction that Donald Trump will take this country, and I take my own warning seriously. I need somebody who's a kind and decent person who will bring this country together. But today, it's about a brighter future, and I think the best thing for the country and the future of the Republican Party is that Donald Trump lose and Kamala Harris is elected.
I mean, you have to laugh. You have to laugh. Can this woman get any more stupid? Seriously.
A deal signed to end the war with Israel and Hamas. 20 Israeli hostages set free and are now home.
They signed a Middle East peace agreement, but just a few hours ago, Trump was in Israel touting the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and the critical role he played in that deal. As you mentioned, 20 Israeli hostages, now released by Hamas, are home.
If he does good, if he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show and say, thank you for doing it. Yeah.
Alyssa Fara, she is one of the hosts on ABC's show The View. She said a while back, I'll quote, "If Trump gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on this show and say thank you for doing it." Your response?
Well, did she put the hat on?
Well, she hasn't got the hat yet.
Who is it? Which one?
Alyssa Fara.
Well, she used to work for me. So she used to work here. I'll tell you about Alyssa. She gave me the most beautiful letter you've ever seen. I was a great president. What a great job. Some of the letters have been quoted. This is Alyssa, who I never thought was very outstanding. I figured she would not make it. And then she got hired by The View, and they gave her a couple of bucks, and she changed her view very quickly. I never thought she'd make it. Never thought she had what it took in any way. You know what that means. But she's on The View. But it just shows what a fraud The View is. So I think she's a total, I think she's a joke.
Democrats would rather see Donald Trump fail than see America succeed. And there is a difference. They would rather see Donald Trump fail than have to admit that Donald Trump did something right.
Where you put this in history tonight, sir?
Oh, it's a very, very important day. One cannot imagine a President Kamala Harris having pulled this off, or President Joe Biden having pulled this off. This required the unique combination of skills, the negotiating skills of President Trump and the military skills.
If Trump is going to run, I think that even a low-ranking candidate with essentially moderate views, he won't win, but Trump will lose. So nobody's going to win this next election if it's Trump versus Biden. It will be who has the most negatives and who loses the election. Nobody's going to win that election.
We'll never be able to answer the question that we asked tonight, who is more dangerous to democracy, Trump or Harris, because one will win. And the loser will not have a chance to show whether she or he was more dangerous to democracy. And I have to tell you, I'm frightened of both candidates for very different reasons. Trump, we all know.
We thank President Trump and our brave soldiers.
The hardest thing to do is that, in terms of deal, if you're a deal person, right, the ultimate deal is that deal. Israel, Palestine, if you're going to make it, that probably is the hardest deal there is to make. People are born with hatred. They're taught hatred. And I have to say, it's mostly on the one side, not on the other side. But they're taught hatred. If I'm going to be president, I'd rather be in a position, because I will try the best I can, and I'm a very good deal maker, believe me, to try and solve that puzzle. You're not going to solve it if you're going to be on one side or another. Everyone understands that. If I'm going to solve the problem, I want to go in with a clean slate. Otherwise, you're never going to get the cooperation of the other side. So that's all I'm saying.
There is hope across the Middle East. President Trump has been able to do what so many thought was impossible. Celebrations erupted in Hostages Square overnight in Tel Aviv as Israelis processed the news that all of the remaining hostages held by Hamas will be released in the days ahead.
I want to thank President Trump for bringing this amazing victory. That's the name for it. That's a victory. He deserves a Nobel Prize for this, a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing this amazing deal.
The only thing I want to remind Americans, though, as they're protesting, there is not one group that anybody is protesting over that will be better off under Donald Trump. So be very careful that you don't cut off your nose to spite your face by not showing up to vote in November. Because the first thing that Donald Trump did when he became president was issue a Muslim ban. And if you think not showing up to vote is not going to help Donald Trump get elected, and Donald Trump will give Palestine any justice, I want what you're smoking.
You're a diplomat. You know this game. How impressive is this accomplishment in your world?
For Donald Trump to solve this issue is just enormous. I hope people understand what just happened today. Donald Trump is the only person in the world that could have done this, and he did this. This will solidify him in history as the greatest president of modern times. You don't get wins like this unless you literally have the power to use it, and his power of persuasion is unlike anyone else. He is the greatest deal maker.